My name is Brian Solis. I am a principal analyst at Altimeter Group. I'm also the author of What's the Future of Business and several other books. I study the future of digital transformation, disruptive technology, its impact on business, but also I'm an aspiring digital anthropologist, so I look at technology's impact on us and how we change, how our decision-making changes, how we're influenced and how we influence others. And all of this impacts marketing, but it also impacts everything from service to engagement. So in a sense, everything becomes marketing, and I try to pay attention to all these things. I also blog at briansolis.com, also on LinkedIn and Ad Age and Forbes. I guess I'm somewhat inspired these days by all the changes going on and trying to help people navigate their way. One of the biggest trends right now is the on-demand economy. Some folks refer to it as this sharing economy, others the collaborative economy. What really is happening at its essence is people want things when they want it, how they want it, and there's always an app for that. If you want food delivery, then you can use Fluck. If you want your groceries, you could use Instacart. If you want a car, well, Uber it. All of these things are so pervasive that they're becoming verbs, right? Airbnb it, Uber it, Fluck it, all of these things are so pervasive in our life. So why wouldn't it spill over to marketing? So for example, DOZ connects on-demand brands, agencies, talent to essentially execute against marketing campaigns on demand, right? So when you move into an on-demand economy, what that really means and why it's important to the future of marketing is that how you used to do things, maybe staff, maybe resources, maybe focus on campaigns. There was a time luxury that I don't think we have anymore. We're competing in a real-time world. On-demand is sort of feeding this, what I call an ecosystem, where we are literally at the center of our own digital universe, and you need to compete for the moment and for the future all at the same time. So to me, the on-demand economy is forcing the evolution and the revolution of marketing. Other trends that I would also focus on besides on-demand, or as a result of on-demand, I should say, is content. Content is becoming so much more important than I think we give it credit for. And even when I said the word content, you probably thought, content? Why is that a future trend in marketing? It's because social and mobile and digital, everything that engagement revolves around starts with some artifact. And so if I took the word content and I changed it to social object, so maybe it sounds a little bit more advanced or sophisticated or complicated, but really what a social object is, it's in social science, it's something that sparks engagement, right? So whether it's an infographic here in digital, or it's a video or a Vine or an Instagram, that social object could be content. And when you start to think about the social aspect of the object and not just of it as content, you now start to realize that there's a new form of expertise that's required to make something both social and engaging. So the ability to talk to someone and through someone. Very different skill set, many of which marketers don't necessarily have. So these new communities in terms of on-demand economies that are sparking up like DOZ really start to put brands in touch with people, or agencies in touch with people who have that expertise, who might not be on staff or on payroll or within an immediate network. So to me, the ability to get someone in to create a social object for social media or for mobile, or to help with sort of responsive design or SEO or what have you, these are things that I can now plug into in real time. The social object aspect, I'm sure, is something we'll talk about more over time, but I can't emphasize its importance in the future because it's not just about creating content. Too much content exists already, and it's because it's a result of all of these platforms that we're seeing out there. You know, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Vine, Ask.fm, Reddit, Imager, whatever platform you're on, brands tend to think that they have to keep creating content in order to stay relevant. In fact, a lot of brands are using the word "bay" now, which is just absolutely driving me crazy because I think it makes them hip. I'm not sure. But the point is that maybe we lose sight of what content really means, or what engagement really means, and then how content can facilitate that engagement. So when you start taking the platform away and you start taking the artifact away and you start thinking about things as a social object, you now have a much more powerful opportunity to really connect with someone. And when you think about what engagement is and what it isn't, I think a lot of people measure engagement in terms of likes and followers and retweets or impressions or views. But really what we're talking about when we use the word engagement is there's a moment where we connect. And I have a real great opportunity, almost a gift, if you will, to do something with your attention. I think we take that for granted as marketers. I think we create a whole bunch of content, a whole bunch of crappy content, if that's a good adjective, just because we feel the need to have to do that. If we're not putting stuff out according to an editorial calendar, then we're becoming irrelevant. People are moving on and we're getting forgotten. But what this really is about is making a meaningful connection in that moment when I have your attention and I do something with it. Something, whether it's make you laugh, make you click, make you do something that's more aspirational and actionable. So that takes intention, and that takes purpose, and that takes this architecture that goes beyond, I think, what we're thinking about today. So the on-demand economy, I think, is going to force marketers to have to connect with the expertise that they don't have in order to really be relevant and engaging in this real-time world. Another trend that I want to talk about is actually not a new trend at all. It's actually been around for a long time, but I think its importance is understated, and it's going to be much more important by a new generation of digital marketers, and that is SEO, and also SMO, or social media optimization. Attention is a precious commodity, and in marketing, Google once called the process of discovery the zero moment of truth. And their assumption is that, well, it's a good assumption, that when you are going to look for something, chances are you're going to Google it. And so what happens in that moment of truth is exactly the terms that go into that search box and then the results that happen, right? And then from there, the next series of moments of truth unfold. And for marketers, this has to be architected. And it's not really good enough to just optimize a website or a landing page or any piece of content. You have to almost think about SEO as a journey and helping people in every step of the journey so that they find what they need and help them go where they need to go in order to accomplish what it is that they're setting out to do in the context of that moment. And I know that that answer sounds a little bit geeky, but it really is how marketers need to start thinking. And so a lot of us don't necessarily have that expertise employed or just through experience, because the experience that we've had to date hasn't really had us think about things from an experiential level. But now, since we're moving into that area, things like SEO and SMO become much more important. If you think about it, if we geek out for a second, like the movie Tron or Inception or The Matrix, the one thing that each of those movies shared was this concept of an architect, and that architect sort of built the world. And SEO and SMO is essentially the waypoints to help you find your way around this world. So you're designing content and social objects and essentially experiences to help people navigate where they're trying to go naturally. And the thing that I think we take for granted is that it's going to happen with or without you. It's going to happen whether or not you architect this or not. So why wouldn't you really start to think about the possibilities? And since we don't necessarily have that expertise in-house, or maybe we have sort of a 1.0 interpretation of that expertise, we really could look at possibilities with new players, new resources, new markets to help us navigate this new digital landscape.